What the heck is up, guys? Thrush here, and I just thought I'd bring you a Loki Prime video. Loki Prime, for those who don't know, is probably the god tier Warframe of this game. He can survive most things only because he can just go invisible and run away. He's also extremely fast and extremely strong. So those two things make him one of the strongest ones, although he is recommended more for advanced players, just because, as you can see here on the left, even at level 30 and pretty much maxed out, he's quite squishy. He doesn't have much in the way of armor, health, or shields. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But he's still pretty good. He's amazing for stealth missions. He's also really good to have on your team if you have that extra slot as someone to revive, because he can just cloak himself and go res people as need be and hopefully get out of the way. Those sorts of things. He is fairly power intensive. He does take quite a bit of energy to use. In previous iterations, I did have a flow on this build to help negate that, as I also had a bit of energy efficiency because we didn't really need too much duration. I was trying to sort of find a balance, but I still think this is probably the better bet. So let's take a look here. First big thing is energy siphon. You are gonna need a hell of a lot of power to run this guy, so energy siphon is the way to go. I really hope they eventually come out with an energy siphon prime or a primed energy siphon, because while 0.6 is great, I would love it to be over 1, just because he needs a bunch and he can use all the help he can get. Rush I put in here. I know in my last video I didn't really talk about the extended slot too much, but I put a Rush in here only because he's meant to be fast. He's meant to invis and melee cut through people or get out of the way. He's not a tank. He will not take hits for you, so you shouldn't be getting hit. So making him as fast as possible is probably the safest bet. If I was going to upgrade anything past what I already have upgraded, it would probably be the sprint speed, only because it just purely makes him better. He is, aside from Volt, he is the speed demon, and he will help. Anything you can really give him helps. Alright, so the major perks here, the major two abilities we're going to be using on this guy, by the way, are the invisibility and the radial disarm. Decoy can be useful now and again, and switch teleport can be useful now and again. We'll get into that in a moment. But let's take a look at how we're running invisibility first. So what we really need to do is just build duration. So we have a primed continuity, which I'd love to get leveled up, but we're getting tight on room. I may format Loki. I don't believe I have formatted him yet. If you take a look over here, that's, I believe, how he comes. If I'm not mistaken, it has been a while since I've had him. So he is quite polarized, and it makes it easy to set up. But anyways, let's keep going. So we have prime continuity for duration, narrow-minded for duration, where are we here? And constitution for duration. As you can see, that puts us over 200% duration. So that gives us about, I think it's a 27-second invisibility off the top of my head, which is pretty important. It does take a fair amount to cast, which is a pain in the butt, but it is what it is, and it lasts quite a while. So for those who don't know, all your melee kills while you're at it will be have stealth bonus, so they'll do crap tons of damage. This can be really good for either leveling your melee weapons up or just for straight up flat out killing guys. The next ability we're working on is the radial disarm, which removes all the weapons from enemies and replaces them with little, what look like taser sticks almost. And what we're going to be working with for that is range. So we got overextended, we got overextended and stretch. Really carry the bulk of that, and as you can see, it's not as high. It's just under 200. It's not as high duration, and that's mainly because narrow-minded. Narrow-minded is a bit of sort of a trade-off for that. I think this is a good balance, somewhere around rank 5 or 6. You get a good balance between the two. I mean, you could always up your prime continuity if you're really worried about your duration that much. Natural talent because radial disarm especially takes quite a while to cast. Although this is new for me, so if you're feeling like he's a little too squishy or doesn't have enough energy, I would recommend replacing Natural Talent with Flow or with a Vitality mod if you have one. Both will help him quite a bit. But just be prepared that if you're going to be casting a Radial Disarm, you're going to need to be invisible while you cast it because it will take a while otherwise. Now the cool thing that's new since the Syndicates have come out, which I believe is update 13, is a Radiating Disarm. This ability, I believe, this mod you can buy from Arbiters of Hexus, which is where I got mine, or Red Veil if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure on that one. And it gives you almost a Nyx type effect. If you've seen the Nyx Chaos ability, where all the enemies fight each other and go back and forth, those sorts of things, this will do that. Once you cast your Radial Disarm, for 9 seconds of that time, they'll be fighting each other, which can be really great. And it's not timer locked like Chaos is on Nyx, so it can be very helpful, especially at high levels where the enemies just shred each other. So that's pretty much it, guys. Not too much to say. I mean, run a great melee weapon, run a bow if you have the bows. I just picked up a Arachnos Ceranos bow or Arachnos Ceranos bow that I've really been liking, and the Dread is good, as is the Prime and the Paris Prime. Sorry, the Paris and the Paris Prime are both quite good as well. I'm not so much a fan of Daiku, but that's just me. This is my build. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you give it a try. And if you're having trouble finding Prime parts, honest to God, just go in here, open up the recruiting tab, and tell people what you're looking for. 9 times out of 10, there's at least one other person looking for that part that will come out and help you, and share the cost of keys and whatnot. It makes getting primes a lot easier. And don't be afraid to trade away parts that you don't need in that exact moment for parts that you want. That's how I got a lot of my primes. Is just don't be afraid to give slightly better parts away if it means you can complete a set, because that person doesn't necessarily know whether or not you're trying to complete the set. But if you give them a good deal, you can always tell them, hey man, if you ever get whatever part, come see me first. And a lot of times I find that tends to work. So this is the build, guys. Hopefully you like it. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you in the next video. Have a great one.